In this footage, the large caliber siege gun is hooded as it moves up and into position. Later in the video, we'll see it in action. In early 1942, such siege guns were amassed in the Crimea, targeting Soviet fortifications for the storming of Sevastopol. In part 11 in the series, covering letters and diary entries from this wonderful book, we'll follow 3 texts, 2 from soldiers of the 45th Infantry Division and 1 from the 18th Panzer Division, all written on June 22nd, 1941, the day that Barbarossa kicked off. In addition to rare film footage, I'll use an OKW situational map to give context to these stories. At the end of the video, we'll do a drive-by of destroyed Soviet vehicles from the first day of fighting on the Eastern Front. You can find the texts on page 24 and 30 in the book. If you haven't got it yet, the pinned link in the comments section will get you to it. Genau 3:10 Uhr am 22. Juni. At exactly 3:10 on the 22nd of June, 1941, we were ready to fire. Somewhat restively, I followed the minute and second hands of my watch until the firing order came. At 3:15, a lightning bolt of gigantic dimensions tore through the night. Thousands of artillery pieces shattered the silence. I will never forget those seconds. But just what they signified for the world, for Germany, that was beyond comprehension. The artillerymen told me about an unbelievable experience. At our crossing point, they said, tanks dived into the Bug River like U-boats and then reappeared on the east bank. Must be pretty strong tobacco they're smoking, I thought to myself. But it was true. It seemed that a curtain over the terrors of the underworld rose above our heads. At first, we were still hearing the discharges, the thunder and howling of wailing shells passing overhead, streaking in death-dealing trajectories toward the opposite bank from hundreds of barrels, ranging from the smallest to the largest caliber. Involuntarily ducking our heads, we were almost forgetting to breathe. However, a second later, the artillery fire of a different heavy gun gathered such a deafening and breathtaking strength, like I never experienced later. Even those participants in the First World War among us later acknowledged that at that time they had never experienced fire of such concentrated power. The sky turned red, and even though it was night, it became as light as day. Large trees fringing the Bug swayed wildly and were torn to pieces as if from an invisible force by the atmospheric pressure of the passing shells. Der Sturm auf die Festung Brest-Litowsk. The storming of the fortress Brest-Litowsk. Already in the morning, the way to the east is free for our panzers. But the most difficult fighting for the fortress goes on. The battles on the islands extremely difficult. Complex terrain, groups of houses, clusters of trees, bushes, narrow strips of water, plus the ruins, and the enemy is everywhere. His snipers are excellently camouflaged in the trees. Superb snipers. Camouflage suits made of gauze with leaves attached to them. Shooting from hatches in the ground, basement windows, sewage pipes. First impression, the Bolshevik fights to his very last breath, perhaps because of the threat of the commissars that those who fall into German captivity are shot, according to statements by the first prisoners. At any rate, there is no slackening of fighting power, even though resistance is futile since the citadel is surrounded. The night is silent, and we dig the first graves. And now, here's the raw drive-by footage of destroyed Soviet vehicles taken on June 22nd, 1941. Use the QR code to get to our Patreon page and see our different levels of support. If you'd like to see the other parts to this series, which are really good, click on this link. Open a free account on our website, military1945.com. If you like this kind of material, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks for watching.